I have to design a whole office, not my strong suit. So I fed in everything. We did it on ChatGPT and Gemini and said, like, we need Sherwin-Williams paint. It needs to match these company colors. And like, it helped me pick out everything. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah, which would have taken hours. It took 20 minutes. You got to play with it. Do something and give yourself an hour a week or 20 minutes twice a week, however you break up your time, to just like play around and figure out how to work with it.
If you're watching this video, you are most likely a law firm owner who is interested in AI and automation. My name is Ashley. I'm the CEO and founder of Cardigan Marketing. Our company exists to help law firms grow, period. We do this through digital marketing services. We build websites, we do SEO, social, paid ads, email. But in everything we do right now, everything is wrapped in the conversation of AI. So there is no one better to sit with and talk to than Allison Harrison. Allison is a law firm owner who is incorporating AI and technology. Allison is leaning into the world of AI and automation, and I knew she would be a great person to speak with and see how she's using it. So if you're intrigued, you don't know where to begin, I think Allison gives some great tips. I love when she talks about just play around with it, have fun, be playful, dedicate a little bit of time each week is what she said. And I thought that was some great advice. Or if you're here today and you're a law firm owner and you're diving into AI, I think Allison will, again, provide you some great use cases of how she might be using it, or she's someone that you can reach out to and connect, and you all can discuss the different ways that you're using AI and automation. So I hope you enjoy my conversation today with Allison. I hope you learn a few things, or it opens your mind up to AI and all the capabilities that it has in every part of your law firm. Allison, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy to talk to you. This is a little bit unique conversation that I get to have. So I'm super pumped for talking to you, and I'm grateful for your time. So thanks for sitting with me. I know you're super busy. Tell everyone who you are. Yeah. Tell us who you are and what do you do, and then let's go for it.
Yeah. So my name is Allison Harrison. I'm the CEO of ALH Law Group. We do estate planning and business litigation. We have niches within that, but that's a general broad brush.
Within estate and business, what is your split? Are you guys like 50-50 on both sides? What does it look like?
Yeah. Right now we're about 50-50. I'll say estate is estate and probate, and then just litigation is the other half.
Okay, cool. So fun conversation all about AI and automation. I posted on LinkedIn, hey, who in my network is utilizing, loving, working, scared of AI and automation? You raised your hand and said you'd be willing to sit with me. So like most of the content we put out there, I want this to be informative for people who are AI curious, automation curious, terrified of it, already leaning into it, want to hear what you have to offer and what you're doing. So let's get into it. Maybe start by high level thoughts, comments on, and I use AI and automation in the same sentence. I don't know if you do. I find that a lot of people talk about AI and it's really just automation. So I want to use them in the same sentence, but define them at the same time.
So our firm, one of the core values is technodexterous. It's like leveraging what technology we have. We've been really heavy on automation since I started it. And so I kind of use them as well, because some people who are thinking about AI really are thinking about automation, not necessarily generative AI. But we use it in all sorts of things, from drafting initial documents to internal workflows to make those things smoother and happen in the background, as well as starting to use it in the generative sense of figuring out how to have better strategy and do like a little bit higher level data analysis to get us where we need to be going. But we kind of started our adventure in AI in the automation realm of getting documents automated.
Okay. Talk to me about, so the document drafting, I'm doing an AI ethics conversation for a bar association next month. And that's the first objective or the first use case I'm giving. What specifically, how are you using, what specific tools are you using on the document drafting side?
Yeah, so we use a tool called Gavel. We have created like a list of questions and then documents that it'll ultimately go into, and we can send a link out to our client. The questions are crafted without a legal mind. So we want to have it so your average person can look at it, answer it accurately, And so what happens is we send it to our clients, they fill it out. On the back end, it generates the first round draft for us to look at, and then we can review it from there. It's not the final product, but it certainly gets the information from our clients, which we would be getting anyhow, but putting it in the initial draft. And so we do have like initial disclosures on estate planning. It can do our powers of attorney, all that stuff. So it's dumping in the name, contact information.
So is that using more automation or AI?
That's a lot of automation. Now, when you like format the document, there is some like AI magic that they advertise. We created these before that existed. So like it does now, especially if you upload a PDF, it will start to try and formulate questions for you based on what it sees are the fill in the blanks.
Okay. Yeah. So mostly automation, but again, they're starting to incorporate a little bit of AI into that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. What case management software do you guys use?
We use Clio.
Okay. Is Clio, did they have any kind of AI feature?
Clio has Clio Duo, which is their AI, which I actually think I have a call later today about. But to me, the way that works is it looks a lot more like hyped up search than necessarily AI. But I don't know, TBD. Clio gets better every day, so I'm sure it'll be, leaps ahead before when this drops.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's continue. I think the workflows conversation is where you're probably using like true AI. That's where we're using true AI. But let's stay on the legal side. So you talked about the document drafting. Where else are you using AI and or automation?
Some of that on like transactional business things, we use generative AI to like do an initial draft of a document, or provisions. We may have a standard operating agreement, but we want to like soup up a certain provision for that client. And so we have right now Alexis's AI and Paxton. And so we'll kind of put the parameters in and have it generate back a specific provision. It's not great at drafting full documents, but if you're like, hey, I need this thing worded, both of those, I think Paxton right now is a little bit better than Lexis on drafting.
Okay. So what would you say to the lawyer who's scared of that? Of like, she should be worried about that, or the legalities of that, what would you say to them?
You have to get this initial draft somewhere. So whether you're pulling it from Lexis or Googling it or looking through your, proverbial Rolodex of examples, it's the same thing. Right? You're just the mechanism in which you searched or looked for it is different. And it's pulling from way more experience. So it's like if you worked at a 1,000-person firm, you're basically getting all of those examples, but you're a 1-person or a 4-person firm. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you and I talked just a second before we turn on the cameras, but I just, being scared of it that worries me for someone. Right. Of just, you're not going to even lean into it and try to explore and learn all the capabilities.
I think at a certain point, you're going to be committing malpractice by not using it. And I think that certain point is going to come sooner than anyone in the legal field wants to admit, because when we look at lawyers are slow to change, but AI is something that is like coming hard and fast, and get on board or get left behind.
It's not going anywhere. Right. I used the analogy with you before we started recording, and I had to use this with someone this week, was to say that AI is just the most recent trend is to say that the internet is the most recent trend. I'm at the weird age. I'm almost 40, but I remember when the internet started. I played golf my whole life, but I remember the first real memory of the internet was seeing Tiger Woods. And so for me, that was like the most profound moment. So that is the same to say, think about how far we've come with the internet and AI, but at an exponential rate. It's not going anywhere. And so you have to get on board with it in some capacity, or you are going to be left behind, not just in business, but I think just in society.
Oh, 100%. And I think like people who are nervous, we've already been using different versions of AI and not necessarily knowing it, right? We talked about this earlier, spell check, Grammarly. Those are all kind of things and tools that a lot of people have embraced that are really basic AI. right? They're reading something in the background and telling you it's incorrect. So like if you've utilized those tools, you're already utilizing AI. Now, I do confidentiality is a concern, and that is something, but all of this comes down to like use your brain a little bit to like figure out how does it fit in with what you're doing, right? You're not going to upload client documents to ChatGPT's free version, but you may in a Lexis one because you're looking for a specific provision, or, you know, you look to get the paid confidential closed loop system on Gemini because you're in the Google workspace or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great example. Okay, let's talk. I was actually going to ask you that. What is your email-based platform? Are you Google?
Google. Yeah.
Yeah, we are too. So for anyone out there, I think that is the easiest way to intro yourself into the AI world. Gemini is phenomenal. It changes every day. We're an entire Google-based agency. So it's doing a tremendous amount of work and spell check and proofing. I love when it completes my sentences.
Oh, yeah. The draft emails are so nice.
Phenomenal. Yeah. So that's a great intro for folks, I think, is just the Gemini feature in your entire Google platform.
Yeah. And like, so our team, a month ago, I was like, guys, we got to start using AI more. And so like, if you have a question, use one of our platforms and ask it before you ask me the question. And the first feedback I got was, well, it's wrong. And I was like, well, is it wrong or did you ask a bad question? Like keep working with it to formulate the question better. And then, 5 minutes later, like, oh, this is awesome. And then, the next day they try it again and they're like, this is great. And so that's kind of how we've started to have everyone start to embrace it. Is your first step is using an AI tool. The second step is then you can ask someone a question.
Right. Oh, that's a good idea. I like that. And I love that in Gemini, you're creating a doc and it says, do you want me to save this in your Google Drive? It's like, you know what? Matter of fact, I do. It's not only creating it for you and then it's saving it, which is such a great use case for many scenarios. It's dumping it in the correct drive folder. It's phenomenal.
We use Lawmatics as our intake system, and we were trying to get some analytics out of it into Airtable, and I can't figure it out. That graphs and charts, they're not my jam. I don't know how to set them up. So I was using Gemini to say, like, how do I do this? And it had step-by-step guide. And so then I got off board, just like, it was like, do you want to send it as an email? And I was like, yep, sure do. And so then I sent it to my admin who loves charts and graphs. And I was like, Kenneth, can you please follow the instructions and do this?
Yeah. Another like personal use case I was telling our team the other day is I took the data from my Whoop strap, and which if anybody wears, one of the rings or the Whoop or there's a watch or something, so take your data from here. And then I recently had some blood work done and I fed it to Gemini, I think maybe I did a few different ones and say, do you see trends here? Combining both data points, do you see trends? It was a good one just to say, positives, negatives, things to maybe be concerned about, because you get this blood work back and you're like, what the hell do I do with all this?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with this? Right. So that was cool. That was a good personal use case for me. On the workflow side.
And I have to design a whole office, not my strong suit. So I fed in everything. We did it on ChatGPT and Gemini and said, like, we need Sherwin-Williams paint. It needs to match these company colors. And like, it helped me pick out everything. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah, which would have taken hours. It took 20 minutes.
That's a good one. I was saying earlier, I'm working on a CLE for a bar association about AI and use cases. Who do you think is creating this presentation? AI, right? Like, that's the funny part is it's really going back to your point. I say to people getting into it or just starting to explore this, it's you're gonna get back how good your input is. So you have to ensure that you're feeding it the proper questions in order to get back the most accurate information. So work on your prompting. I've got a prompting course that our team goes through. New team members are going through. It's a paid Google course that helps tremendously. So I would also say, like, once you start understanding how to prompt, it really helps you not to be so afraid of it.
Yeah, and play. that to me, that's the thing is like, you got to play with it. Do so, and give yourself an hour a week or 20 minutes twice a week, however you break up your time to just like play around and figure out how to work with it, because it'll pay off tenfold if you spend a little bit of time. You can redesign your bedroom or like, something, but it helps you understand how you're interacting, how to ask the questions. And you can ask your generative AI to ask you questions to help solve the problem. Like, here's what I'm trying to solve for. What questions would you ask me? And use it almost like a career coach kind of thing.
That's
to
a good idea.
whatever.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, talk to me about workflows. What are you what are the use cases in workflows?
Yeah, so this has evolved over time based on what software we have. We used to do a lot where Zapier was involved in connecting Clio to something. And we still do a little bit of that. When we close out a matter in Clio, we hit close, it automates an email to the client and it saves in our file. So we know that's a closed matter. They get the notice for, liability concerns, end of case. We also have that when we open a case, it's practice area specific. So when we get a case from Lawmatics to push to Clio, that's automated. And when it gets into Clio, based on the practice area, a zap is triggered to do a task list. So if it's litigation, get the answer filed because we're on the defense. If it's an estate plan, send them the questionnaire. There's probably more in there that I honestly forget about, but those are the ones I know definitely exist.
Yeah. Have you used Make? So Zapier is just, okay, so Zapier, for those of you who are curious what Zapier is, what would be the technical definition? I
think it's just a connector. Like, to me, that's like what it does is if you do A and you want B, it connects it. So when you do A, B happens.
That's a good way to explain it. So Zapier is used to bolt on to other technologies, right? So we now are using more of the platform called Make. So Make has a little bit more. If you're thinking about level of sophistication, Zapier is going to be the easiest to use, and then you have Make next. So it is requiring some coding, but we're finding that for a little bit more sophisticated workflows that we're using Make. So we're able to now, for our social media clients or for our video clients, instead of a human being posting 2 videos a week and coming up with the captions, so you can create a workflow. We use Monday.com, and then there's triggers, true or false triggers, and this trigger is then it's pulling the video from the Google Drive, condensing it down to the 1-minute video, tagging it now using chat to create the caption. So, and we're still playing around with it, but we can now charge our clients the same price. And instead of getting 2 videos posted a week, we're maybe posting 10 videos a week, right?
Yeah, that's
so we're really close to being able to roll that out, but that's only we're only able to do that through something like Make. Zapier, that just seems to go a little bit outside the boundaries of Zapier. Another really cool use case we're using now for Zap. So for our SEO clients, we include Google Business Profile into our SEO platforms. So we've got all these different packages of SEO, but for all of them, they all include posting on our client's Google Business Profile. So again, instead of we were posting, a few times a month, we now have a Zap connected to a Google Doc that we created through Gemini, right? So the initial prompt is a human being going in Gemini and saying, hey, this is this practice area, create 365 posts, connecting it to their highest performing pages, 1,500 words or less, which is what you have to do for a Google Business Profile post. Then through Zapier, it's able to pull that most recent column and post. So we're now able to post once per day for our clients. And again, charge the same price. But what is that doing? So for those of you who are not familiar, Google Business Profile is for your local SEO. So if you're a local based firm, so like for your estate side, right? Not your business side. The estate side, you're more interested in that local map pack. So we're able now to post every day versus 2 or 3 times a month, or your most recent blog post. That's what most people are doing. So that's all done through, it's a combination of a few different tools. I did not have the sophistication to do that. There's a guy on our team that did require some coding. And so he's able to do that. But that's like an incredible application.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later after this, because that's a really
we'll talk about that's a really cool use case for us because we're an SEO client at the core foundation of everything we do. We provide SEO, social, video, paid, all your typical digital stuff. But everything we do is really focused on organic. And so that's such a great use case that genuinely helps our clients' performance, right? And that's done without Zapier.
Yeah, I would say the Google My Business is huge at least for our firm, but I think all firms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for those who are more regional based versus, the business side or the federal practice areas are not as much, but a large portion of our client base do focus on that. So that's a great way to use. That's a great way to use Zapier. Do you know any other Zaps that you have?
We used to have a lot more, but because Clio continues to make things more robust, we have their stages now. And so we don't have to do the trigger of if this, then that kind of, which we were doing through Zap, but through stages now you can do the triggers within it. So we've gotten rid of a lot of the dependency on Zapier.
Yeah. I think a lot of companies are realizing they're going to go out of business if not. And so they're building that functionality in. I was just telling a friend of mine recently who he and I are always having these conversations. If I owned one of these scheduling platforms, I would be worried about my future now. That what is the need for a scheduling platform? These tools have it built in. So again, if you're watching this and you have someone doing a repetitive task, if you're like, I have no idea how to use AI, that's fine. Go hire someone who does. We have used and continuously use AI consultants because my background is in marketing. It's never been in technology. So what I'm doing and what I would suggest you do is think about your workflows and anything that's done on a repetitive basis that can be done through AI and or automation.
So I'm reading a book right now, The AI-Driven Leader, and the question that it says is every time you go to do a task, ask, how can AI help me with this? Mm. And if you just continually ask yourself that question, you'd be surprised. And I'm even thinking through it. So I have another startup. It's called Safe Sendoff. And I'm like, gosh, we really need to get our marketing plan together. And then I'm like, oh, I can just dump this into AI. And I just need to block off an hour to sit down and say, here's a target audience. Here's what we're doing. Come up with a marketing plan.
Yep. Yeah. We're talking a lot now. My sales guy and my team who helps him build the strategy for our clients. We're talking about how we've got to continuously train our bot to become a legal marketing expert and feeding it information that we've written, feeding it my videos. So it's also in our tone and voice, feeding it other reputable information. And so you're training it. And again, that's something I see that is missed often is you should train your bots. Oh, yeah. Say, read this. I don't need any action from this. I just need you to confirm that you've read it. And it's now filed that information away. And then also you can toggle in your bots to say, don't crawl the internet for these topics. Because if you're wanting it to truly be fed and only learn what you're feeding it, you have to ensure that that's toggled off. So it's only learning. Like if you're wanting to train a bot on your processes and procedures, well, don't have it crawl, right? Have it just read and understand what you're feeding it. If you're feeding it your team's playbook and information that you've sent.
Well, and also that's another point of things you can use. So we use Tetra as our process manual. They now have an AI that you can just hit record, do the task, and it'll write the policy for you. So that's cool. When you have to train someone, they've got a very clearly written out policy, and it took you no time other than you open that tab on your browser and hit record.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Okay, we've gone longer than I said we would, but here we are. Any final thoughts for those who are AI curious?
Just play. I mean, to me, that's play and encourage people around you to play because you all find different ways in which it's working for you. To me, that's the most fun is we have a team call once a week, and every week now someone's like, oh, I had AI do this. And I'm like, yeah, great. I mean, and from that, you can learn either prompts or different applications on how it can be utilized. Yeah.
Yeah. I think as the leader, you have to intro it. I think you have to incentivize it in a way. And you get creative at how you want to do it. We have a scorecard that I created. And I realized the more I was hesitant of it, the more my team was hesitant. The more I lean in, the more that the team are leaning in. And then just helping and encouraging them. I have a lot of young people who work for me. Not that I'm not, I understand that, but I have some really young people who work for me. And just encouraging them of, hey, you've got a really long time left in the workforce. Those who are going to succeed are those who are going to know how to use and prompt and utilize AI and automation. Those who do not are the ones that are going to be left behind. So it's not meant to scare anyone. It's just, you're going to be pushed out in every industry. So it's not meant to scare you. It's just meant to, we're at a really interesting time that we're all being introduced to it. Get on board. And I think you're going to experience the fruit of that intentionality throughout the course of your business and your career.
Amen.
Well, yeah. Amen to that. Thank you so much for sitting with me today and talking about this. If anyone has questions of like, hey, Allison, I have no idea where to begin. Where can they find you? How can they find your firm and all that you're doing?
Yeah. They can shoot me an email. It's allison@alhlaw.com, or visit us on any social media. It's ALH_law, or our website, alhlaw.com.
I think everyone will be surprised to know that you're very active on social media.
Yes, we have fun with it too.
Yeah, no one will be surprised to know that. All right, Allison, thanks for joining me today. Good to see you.
Yeah. Thanks, Ashley. Have a good one.